Many of us, whenever we've come away from an argument or debate with a liberal, a strange feeling arises. Was this person listening to anything that was being said? Why were only several exact word refrains repeated dozens of times? How come their face exploded into apoplectic fits of rage, or outbursts of sobbing, then quickly retire into a mute, vacant gaze? Was I even speaking to a human being at all? Well, if you occasionally follow 4chan, then you will no doubt be familiar with a novel operating meme at present that describes the liberal progressive type in very quotidian postmodern terms, as an NPC. For several decades now, the gaming term NPC, or non-playable character, has come to describe those roles played by extras inhabiting the fictional world of any particular video game, which are controlled by the program via predetermined or responsive behavior, but having no intelligence or proactive abilities. They possess flat, non-dynamic personalities that operate reactively, but which are completely programmed. Now begs the question, if psychometric evaluations were to be conducted on professed liberals and social justice advocates, how many would fall short in the basic measure of intelligence as it relates to the development of personality? Using Louis Thurstone's law of comparative judgment, which has been the basis for psychometric testing since the 1930s, a number of void spaces within the typical liberal mind, and more specifically how these void spaces influence the liberal psyche as it perceives other personalities in its human environment, can be discerned. The first discoverable trait is an absence of self-developed ideas. This is often a consequence of lack of intellectual maturity, but when this continues into one's 20s or 30s, it must be considered as a possible issue of personality. This notion also negatively affects the liberal's interactive abilities with other personalities having dissimilar attitudes and beliefs, as these cannot be fast-tracked or streamlined for compatibility very easily. The second void trait relates to the first. This lack of intellectual maturity or rigor correspondingly leads to simplistic worldviews, with childish remedies to perceived problems. When those perceived problems have been curated and shaped, then placed before the listless eyes of the young liberal mind by an academic gatekeeper, it is no wonder then that an NPC is awakened into dull life. With a minimum of programming and some sort of looped in-game task, the liberal NPC now has a reason to exist, even if this means taking their latte into the streets and marching with a bunch of indolent POCs who would otherwise shag her but for the cordon of burly blue police lining the boulevard. At the dark heart of this meme, however, is the question of a real versus synthetic personality. If one has to externalize canned phrases with quasi-idealistic sentiments, this can be chalked up to naivety or a lack of good judgment. But when it is done persistently, in an agitative manner, then there is a big black hole inside. And this is the plight of the modern liberal NPC. Unfortunately, they have been set up as agents of almost all human social activity at present in the West, and this does not bode well for those of us Wojaks who want to play the game for real. The social theories and delectable insults devised upon the 4chan messaging boards have created some of the most vital memes of the past decade. More critically, they have enabled the new right to weaponize a highly mobile, tactically superior postmodern language that combines imagery with anti-mainstream culture jamming that can evade censorship with subtle and nuanced shifts, making elite communication systems that blitzkrieg popular culture before vanishing without a trace. This will be a crucial mainstay in the war against the hostile liberal elite and the democratic creep states which now control Western civilization for many years to come. As for the liberal, non-playable characters all around us, there isn't really much hope for them at all. With no internality, agency, or capacity for critical thought, they are simply part of a greater program within the social engineering project occurring in the West. They are part meme, part void space, but still very dangerous when arranged into mobs. So, with this in mind, take the straight path, you cosmic soldier.
I was dancing when I was 12. I was dancing when I was 12. I was dancing when I was out. I was dancing when I was out. I danced myself right out the womb. I danced myself right out the womb. Is it strange to dance so soon? I danced myself.